As a mortgage broker in Scotland, one of the questions that I'm asked quite frequently from clients is how long the process actually takes and how long it actually takes them to buy a house. Now, it comes right down and right back to the circumstances that anyone's in, but in the video today that I'm going to be covering off the key steps involved in buying a house in Scotland and go through the kind of timescales that you're looking at. And just to paint a picture, this is a very generalised video. If things need to get done a lot quicker, depending on lenders and whatnot, it can be done. Generally speaking, though, I'll go through the main timescales in today's video. So the home buying process in Scotland often starts before you've even started looking for a property. You need to get your deposit sorted out. Once your deposit's there and you've got all of that sorted out, you're then able to start the process of going through the mortgage application. So look at the mortgage application, for example. If you say you were to apply for the mortgage today, depending on the lender, I would usually suggest 4 to 8 weeks turnaround time. Now, just the other day, I managed to get a mortgage offer through within 4 hours. But generally speaking, depending on the lender, it can take a little bit of time. So if you are planning to move and things need to get done quickly, make sure that you are talking to your broker about that. But generally speaking, there's 5 things to do when you're planning to buy a house and go through the mortgage. You need to make sure that you can afford it. So you do that by checking the monthly cost of the mortgage, and then you check against what the lender's willing to give you. Once you've got that sorted out, you're then going to be making sure that you can get your agreement in principle or your mortgage in principle. And once that's approved, you can then start looking for houses. Because remember, if you've got your deposit in place, you can do all of this. Now, mortgage in principle wise, I would usually say to clients to give me 24 hours. That'll allow me time to get research done. But these things can be done quicker if necessary. It can also take a little bit longer if at that stage lenders are looking to do some additional checks in the background. But generally speaking, I would suggest 24 hours. But once you've found the property, this is when the work really starts, and this is when the timescales become really, really important. If you've had an offer accepted in a property, you need to start moving quickly. So you need to start getting the documents ready. So your bank statements, pay slips, ID, getting it in the right format, getting everything that the broker or that your lender's asking for in order to press on quickly with the application process. Now, generally speaking, once you get there and once the application's submitted, that's when the lender's timescales can start. And you could be looking at about 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks from that time. Now, as I say, if you're looking to do it a lot quicker, just let your broker or the bank know. And if it's going to be possible for them, they'd make you aware. Now, there is a specific timeline of the home buying process that you could be looking at. So you would want to know linear, how long each part of the process is going to take. But I'm going to let you know a little bit about the actual process and the steps involved. So once you've got your mortgage in principle certificate in place, that's you and you're ready and you can go out and start viewing properties. If you don't have things like your deposit sorted out, you would need to look at that. So the first thing that I would do is make sure that you're going to get the mortgage for the property that you're after. That will then allow you to know how much of a deposit you need to build up in order to buy the house, what your income needs to be. So the first thing that you should be doing is making sure that you can get the mortgage. Then once you know that lending is going to be available, you can take it to the next step, and that's making sure that you're going to be able to get your documents there, making sure that you're going to be able to get your deposit, making sure that you can evidence all of these things. And once you're sure that you can do this, it's then time to start looking for your new home. Once you've found your new home, you would then be looking to get an offer placed. So a solicitor can do this for you, and the solicitor can place that offer. You can also do it yourself, or your broker can do it, but I always suggest getting the solicitor to put that formal offer in. Once that offer is accepted, you're then ready to start formally applying for the mortgage. Once you formally apply for the mortgage, you'll be asked to provide the documents that you've got ready, so your bank statements, pay slips, ID, proof of your deposit, these kind of things that the lender's looking for. They'll all be supplied at that time, and your mortgage application will be processed in line with the right product for your circumstances. Once that's in, you're just waiting on the lender coming back. But once they come back to you, that you're then moving into the legal side of things and the legal process. So if they haven't done so already, the solicitor will start doing the land searches, they'll have a look at the title deeds, and they'll do all of the legal checks in order to get you moving into your house on time. Now, if you need to do things really, really quickly, let your broker know, let your solicitor know, because it's certainly possible to do things really, really quickly if it's necessary. And I'll just use an example where when I was working quite closely with a client who was buying a new build, they had reserved this property on the Monday and they had needed to move in by the Friday. It was the close of the year. The builder wanted it over and done with in order to make sure that they're going to get their incentive, which was the 5% deposit. We submitted the mortgage application on the Monday. The client's mortgage offer came through on the Tuesday, and they moved into that house on the Friday of that week. Now, so it's certainly possible to get it done. A lot of factors need to get taken into consideration for things like that. For example, the property needed valued, so we had to make sure that the valuer was going to be able to get out in time, and there was a lot of factors at play, but we pulled together and made it happen. So generally speaking, the timescales of about 6 to 8 weeks are there, but if it was required, things can get turned around fairly quickly. The biggest thing that I see affecting the timescales of mortgage applications from where I'm sitting is the documents, and just making sure that the right documents are there. So making sure if you've got a passport, driving license, these things are valid, they're in date, they've got the correct details on them. So if you've changed name, make sure the name's right. If it's not, do you have a marriage certificate or a name change certificate? But it's usually the documents is the main thing for me that can affect the timescales of applying for the mortgage. Once the mortgage application's in, the biggest thing that will impact the timeline in the mortgage is your circumstances. So have you been making all your payments in time in the past? If so, the lenders are a little bit more relaxed about it. Have you got a good credit score? Can be a little bit more relaxed about it. Is the income straightforward? So are you employed on a stable salary that you're getting paid the same every month? These are the kind of things that make it really, really easy and straightforward for lenders to lend quickly. Where you have a little bit more complexity with it, so if you are self-employed, for example, it might take the lenders a little bit longer to look through things, or if you've missed payments in the past, underwriters might want to have a look at things in a little bit more detail. But there are some key tips that you can take and you can do in order to process it quickly, and that would be from the start working with a mortgage broker or your bank before you've even started looking at properties. Get yourself your mortgage in principle. Find out what documents it is that you're going to need and make sure that you can get them in the right format to process the application smoothly and quickly. If you're self-employed, talk to your accountant and make sure that your accountants are going to be ready. Planning will be the key thing. And if you can get the plan put in place as early as you possibly can, that'll put you into a good position moving forward. So just to summarise, generally the timescales I would suggest would be around 48 weeks for a mortgage application. The timeline of buying a house can be a lot longer. So I've been working with clients for some of my clients over 2 years before they're finding the right house, making sure that they can build up the deposit and that kind of thing. So it's never too early to start. But as soon as that offer's accepted on your house, you will be expected to turn things around fairly quickly. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you found the information here useful. As always, if you do have questions, fire them in the comments.